Hello and welcome to Off the Beaten Tracks. Today is another episode of Master LP's Theater. So won't you join myself and Grace Bevan as we sit around the fireplace and discuss a compilation of country and western tunes called The Greatest Country and Western Hits. We'll see if it is on Master LP's Theater. Won't you join us? Salute. Well, this was of this label obviously is one of the million, like the Pickwick label and all those kind of things, which specialized in repackaging stuff that people I think felt had no worth anymore, and they would put them in these albums or sometimes double albums at amazingly thrifty prices. And no wonder. This one is just mostly is a collection of some of, I describe them as hoary songs. I mean, they are just so blatantly, thuddingly unsubtle heart tugs.
Now, for the folks at home, elaborate a little bit more on what you mean by that, just in case they're really worried that their good Christian country music is all about sex.
Well, there is a lot of sex in Christian music, and the first song, Days of Sand and Shovels, is about sex that comes to nothing, because it's a song about this guy, and he falls in love with this girl, and they have this wonderful relationship, but then something goes a little wrong, because he's firing blanks, and those blanks aren't satisfying her need for children. So eventually she leaves him for some guy who actually has packing something in the cupboard, and that relationship does result in progeny, and the end of the song is him looking like a pervert through the gates into a children's play yard as he looks at this, I believe it's a girl.
Yeah, a young daughter, right?
A young daughter of his ex-wife, and the new husband, the Mr. Virile, and she apparently looks at this guy who's looking through, drooling at the fence and thinks, oh, what a lonely man, or something like that. I mean, it doesn't come much more horrible than that. And actually, You Gave Me a Mountain is even worse.
Oh my God. Speaking as someone who begrudgingly grew up in a place where country was very popular, it's just, you hear one, you hear them all, which is really unfortunate because, you know, you got Cash, you got Patsy Cline on here. There are people who are good at their craft. It's just unfortunate that the craft is country.
Yeah, I mean, and everybody has done You Gave Me a Mountain. It's a religious song, basically saying, Lord, you took a great big dump on my head, and I felt it was tough, and then you took an even bigger dump on my head, and this last dump, well, I'm not going to be able to climb up that mountain to please you. I just feel like life has done me wrong, because it just goes from bad thing to bad thing to worse thing to worse thing to worse thing, and at the end, it doesn't get better. It just goes, I'm not going to be able to climb, I don't think I'm going to climb up that mountain, end of song.
That feels like every country song I've ever heard, because, you know, your wife left, and then she took the car, and then the dog shot you, and he ran off with the shotgun, and you got some sort of disease, and you're going to drink away your problems. See you tomorrow. Like
that basically sums up that song. And then Little Brenda, when I listen to that, I don't know whether you listen to the lyrics in depth, I can't tell in that song whether he's singing to a dead girl.
Oh.
Because it does, and it wouldn't be out of character for a country and western song at all. You listen to it and there's something about the mother and then the father when he was, it's weird. It's a weird, creepy song. And then on another, the Parson from Paint Rock was just like a goof song. I mean, it just got one of those kind of story songs that like Ringo that Lauren Green did. The one I liked was The Meanest Man in Town. I thought was at least a little fun.
Oh yeah, I was definitely I was trying really hard not to listen to the lyrics, I'll be honest with you, because every single country song, with the exception of a few, there are some good country songs out there. I do not mean to hate on country. I kid you not, folks, they played She Thinks My Tractor's Sexy at Prom, And I can never forgive any country music for that ever. That particular song, Meanest Man in Town, at least had a little fun to it. At least had some stuff going. And we had, like, what I always like to call the fun twang. Because, you know, you don't need to put a twang in your voice when you sing country music. It doesn't come naturally when you sing, which is why there was such a big debacle when Chris Gaines and, oh, what is his name? Oh my goodness, the country singer, huge guy, he decided to pull a sort of fugue state, go into Chris Gaines, lost the twang, people were furious. So when you hear a twang, you gotta think, is this overdone or is this put on and is it done well? And I think that Meanest Man in Town at least really hit on that.
Yes, I think you did. And I'm gonna go, let's go with the cover now. And let's go from 10 being best, 0 being Rob Schneider. Where would you put this?
I would say this is a solid 6.5. I'm confused by it, but I like it.
You know, I was just thinking about it as you were reading, and I realized what this is, and I'm going to give this a 4. You know who this is?
Who?
This is the girl that the other guy couldn't muster the jam for. I believe that's what that girl is. That's why Santa shovels, and she even has, I think, isn't that a shovel that she has there?
Daryl, you're right. It is. I don't know if that changes anything for me, but it's still. It's at least visually interesting. I'll give it that.
Yeah.
I like it visually.
And it ties into one of the songs.
Yeah, it's thematic.
Horribly. Yes.
Oh, well, you can't speak to the quality of the song.
Let's go. Okay, now 0 to 10. Where would you put this on an enjoyable album level?
Okay, so it was country, which for me personally, I'm very biased against in a lot of ways. But I think the singers, while I wasn't into the music in the sense of like the styles of the songs they were singing, the singers were all, you know, hit makers. They had nice voices. It was pre-bro country, so we're not hearing those overdone twangs. We're just hearing a good twang that isn't over exasperated. It wasn't unlistenable, and they were hits. So I'll give it a 4.5.
I was going to be tad more generous. I gave it a 5, just because part of it is the camp value. I mean, you know, when you listen to some of these songs, you know, Stand By Your Man, you've got to go with that. Even that just raises up the level a bit. So we're going to say around 5 for it, somewhere in there. If you want to cry your heart out, this is the album to go to, because it starts off with some real weep fest.
Oh, jeez. Join
us next time for Master LP's Theater. This is me, and this is her.
That's us. I'm not gonna lie, having grown up in Bougainville especially, I hate country music so much.